Well, hello, hello. How are you doing? How are you doing? This is the S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Thomas Show, episode number 152. Folks, you know me. I like to just get right to business and just get right to it and figure out exactly what we're going to talk about here. And what I want to talk about is how we're all pretty compassionate people, right? You're a compassionate person. If you see somebody that's homeless or they need some help, you want to help them out, don't you? Right? If you want to give them a couple of bucks or a dollar or 75 cents or whatever it is that you have, you want to do it and it's fantastic. I've done it before and I've talked about it before. There was a donut shop that I used to go to all the time. And there was a guy out front and I saw that he was hungry. So every time I would go in and I would buy myself whatever I was going to buy, maybe a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich or something like that, or a coffee, I would always buy him a small coffee and maybe a donut. And it got to the point where I just assumed when I was going to that place, I was going to buy this guy a coffee, a small coffee and a donut. And I felt good because I did that. And I also went there on occasions when I didn't even necessarily want to go there because I know he was going to be there and expect his small coffee and donut. And after a while, I don't know what happened to him, but he stopped coming. And when he stopped being there, I stopped going there. But it did feel good to help out somebody a little bit, right? But sometimes, even if you're a compassionate human being, there are times when people push you a little bit too far and they don't realize that they've gone past the line, right? And you've been in that situation before where someone just goes a little too far. They might go a little too far with you, or maybe you go a little bit too far. You never, I don't, we don't know what the situation is. And sometimes you don't even know that you went a little bit too far. There was a time when I was a young guy and I was walking around in the subway down in Philadelphia when I lived down there, and these guys followed me around, and I was trying to be polite. The guy asked me for some money. I said it didn't. I got to get. I don't have any change, which is really the worst thing you say, because of course this guy goes, "Well, I'll go with you," and then two of his friends decided they wanted to go with me as well. So exactly what I want to be in a dark subway with three dudes that I don't know expecting money. No. So I had to be impolite with that person. And then he got impolite. And then I looked at him and I said, look, there may be three of you. So you can really, if you want to, you can talk to each other in the ambulance if you want to. Because it's always good to be in an ambulance having somebody to talk to. While they're putting the tube in one guy's throat, the other two guys could, answer questions about where he came from. And they looked at me like, and they backed off. It's happened a few times. I tend not to be a violent person, but I can pretend to be if I'm trying to scare someone off of me. And that was young me. Because at that particular time, he got a little aggressive. And when I said no, I was okay with that because I didn't feel threatened. But then I felt threatened, and he moved from being offensive to moving into a butt whippable offense. I call them butt whippable offenses because there comes a time when a person goes past that line where even a person who's a docile person, a passive person, might want to whoop that person's buttocks. And I haven't been in that situation in quite a while, until recently. You ever notice that when somebody comes up to you and they want to ask you for money, they for some reason have to tell you some long story that you're really not interested in hearing? I don't want to hear a long story. But sometimes I'll let them finish the long story because I'm just trying to assess the situation. And this guy sees all these other people, doesn't talk to them, sees me. I guess he figured I'm a soft touch or I'm not an angry person. He decided he's got to come over to me and tell me, hey, brother, look here, man. I know a lot of people try to be scamming and all that kind of stuff, but let me tell you something, man. You ask another guy, man, if he had a dollar, man, and the guy looked at me and he goes, "Hey, man, I'm strapped," and I was like, "Oh, man, I don't want I don't want no problems." By the way, if someone says they strapped, that means they have a gun. I don't want no problems, man. And I had to back up off him, man. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, man, So I was wondering, and he told me this 4 minute story, and I'm sitting there going, I just ordered my food for the people in my house at the time. I wonder how long this story is going to be. I know it's going to take him about 15 minutes to fix the stuff that I ordered because I didn't call first. I'm actually going to humor this guy and I'm going to give him a dollar, but I want to see how long this story is. And I probably shouldn't have done that because the dude wouldn't shut up. Kept talking. I give all of that crap. And I'm sitting there going, I used to be a salesperson in my pre-comedy days and in my early comedy days. I was a salesperson. I know that in sales, you're supposed to present your information and then close. Keep closing to get the person to either do what you want to do or find out if the person is just not going to buy what you want. But this guy just wouldn't shut the hell up. I literally almost wanted to just take the dollar and go, look, I'll give you $2 if you shut up right now because the story sucks. I, first of all, don't believe the story. I'm not going to get into its personal details because even though I'll never see the guy again, I still want to honor his just in case his story was true. Let's just say he came up with some stuff that I personally know couldn't possibly be true. Okay, I'll just put it to you that way. And another thing, brother, and I'm going, Jesus Christ, when is this going? I started looking over at the lady who's cooking the food, and she's giving me the nod because I go into that store a lot. She gives me the nod because she finally sees me. She smiles and waves. The other people in the kitchen smile and wave because I'm there all the time. So I know that they're in the final roundup of my food, and I no longer want to have this conversation. He's still going, and I could sense and tell that this story is not just going to be a few minutes. I mean, obviously it's been more than a few minutes already. I can tell this story is going to keep going. I don't know how long it's going to keep going. All right, I shave my head. I may have a full set of dreadlocks before this guy shuts his plump mouth. Oh, so anyway, I go, hey, brother, hold on. You know, let me just give you this, man. You know what I'm saying? You need $1. I got $1 for you, man. Here you go, bro. He says, thanks, brother. Thanks a lot, brother. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. And then I'm going, what is this? I just gave this guy $1. Could we stop talking now? So I gotta go, man. So I go over to the counter to pay for my food. And I'm thinking the guy's just going to leave because no one else is going to give him anything. There's really no reason for him to be in the store anymore because I gave him the buck, but he's hanging around the counter. And now I have to pay for my food. And I don't want this guy looking in my wallet because, I don't want him to try to rob me. Okay. Now, if he doesn't have a weapon, I'm not really worried about it, but I don't want to have to whoop this guy and stomp this guy out. And I also don't want him, just in case he's some kind of martial artist, or he does have a weapon, whip me and stomp me out or shoot me. So he's hanging around, right? And finally, I give the nod to the guy behind the counter. He now sees what I'm doing. I'm waiting for this guy to be distracted. So I palm my money, I slide it under the counter, right? The guy doesn't see the money, right? You gonna pay for your food? I pay for it already. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. So he looks around the other way. Guy palms me back my change. I grab my food and I'm walking out. And he's following me. And I'm going, is this guy kidding me? Is this guy kidding me? He's literally, I gave you $1. What, you're not getting anything else. I even gave him the whole, man, you say something out loud so someone can overhear it so you can give them the information that they need to leave you alone. Man, I'm so glad she paid for this stuff online, man, because I ain't got no cash on me, brother. I'm saying that to somebody else so he'll overhear it and leave me the hell alone, but he doesn't get the hint or he didn't hear me. So I'm walking, I'm going, I don't want this guy walking up to me while I'm at my car. And I don't want to walk past my car. That's stupid. Now he's going to inconvenience me and all the food's going to be cold. So I turn around, I walk up to him and I'm going, are you going in the same direction I'm going? I'm not saying we're going to talk or anything like that, but it seems to me that our conversation is over. It seems to me that our conversation is over. And I look at him and he finally gets the hint. Goes, okay, okay, and walks in another direction. He wasn't going in my direction. I mean, what am I going to do? Have you follow me to my car? You think I'm going to give you a ride? I don't know you. Get out of here, right? Now, from my old neighborhood, that is a butt whoopable offense. Some of the people that I grew up with, if you followed, first of all, they wouldn't have given you the $1. And if they did give you the $1, and you were hanging around while he was paying, while the person was paying, the person would have looked over at you and go, you need something? You need something? Yo, you need something? Some of the people that I grew up with, not my friends, but the people who were from the same neighborhood, let's just say they would have pulled up their shirt and showed them something that wasn't their belt, if you understand what I'm saying. All right. But that's one of those things where you're like, what are you doing? Aggressive. I had a guy stand behind me, try to strike up a conversation at the ATM. And unfortunately, this was a time when I had to take out, I'm not a rich guy, but I had to take out a couple $100 to pay a bill. And the last thing you wanted to be doing is standing around in front of a bank with a couple $100 in your pocket and somebody standing real close to you. Because if somebody's standing close to you, all they got to do is open up their coat and pull up their shirt to show you something that's not their belt that goes pew, pew, pew. And all of a sudden, you got to hand over the money. So now, once again, this is what I'd like to refer to as a but whoopable offense. So I have to turn to the guy. Yo, I'm at the ATM. I don't know you. And even if I did know you, you're too close. See that line right there? Meaning a line where they had drawn a line where they want you to stand when someone's at the ATM to not be in their personal space. See that line over there? You're on the wrong side of it, bro. Oh, I mean, I'm not saying you meant anything. I'm just telling you, you need to be on the other side of that line. Step out, back up. Once again, from my old neighborhood back where I came from, there wouldn't have been any talking. If you were at the ATM and somebody comes up to you trying to strike a fake conversation up at the ATM, elbow strike to the face, bow, done. It's a butt whoopable offense. Now, I don't know about you. And like I said, I'm not a violent person by nature, but I grew up around people that were not my friends, but, I didn't hang out with them, but I've seen some things that I don't want to be a part of and things that I don't agree with, but I've seen some things. And sometimes even a person like me, who is not a violent person by nature, who tends not to want to get into those confrontations, who tends to not, I've never actually smacked or punched anyone that hadn't already smacked or punched me or attempted to smack or punch me first ever in my life. And I'm 54 years old. It's never happened, ever. And I don't enjoy it. And I haven't had to smack anybody in a long, long time. But there was a time, a long time ago, when I almost did it. Almost. I came very, very close. Very close. I was with my girlfriend and a friend, and she made a fast friend at a bar where we were hanging out, right? And she became so cool with the lady that all of a sudden I realized I am now on a double date, meaning I have double the women that I should be with. And the lady was a nice lady. And I could tell that my girlfriend at the time and this lady were becoming friends, so much so that I knew that before the night was over, there would be an exchanging of phone numbers. And I knew at some point I was going to go to my girlfriend at the time's house. I'd pull into New York. I'd park my car. I'd walk up the steps, and this lady would be sitting in the apartment. And she go, "Hey, it's Anthony," and I was okay with it because she was a sweetheart, a sweetheart. And usually when I go out with my lady, at whatever lady I'm with, if I'm with the lady, people will see that you're with the lady, and they will leave her alone. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll know better than to go doing anything. But this was not my lady. She was sitting next to me and next to my lady. And because they had become such fast friends, and because they became cool, I became cool with the lady, and she was a sweetheart. And a guy came over and hit on her, and I didn't really think much of it because she's a single lady. She was at the bar. Her friends left. She wanted to stay and watch whatever, some sporting event or whatever it was. And the guy was hitting on her. And he was being a bit of a, I don't want to say curse words on this show, but he was being a bit of a beep, if you understand what I'm saying, but not horrible, just a little more persistent than necessary, but nothing that would make you call the police or anything like that. But I tend not to be that type of cat, right? But the guy kept coming back and she kept telling him to get out of there. And I'm looking over at the guy and I'm sitting there going, okay. I'm starting to feel responsible for this lady, and I don't even know this lady, but she made fast friends with my lady. So, okay, right? And my lady looks at me and she puts her hand on my arm and she starts squeezing my arm. Not because she knows. Okay, buddy. All right. Right. And then the lady looks at me, and at first she looked at me and she could tell I was getting a little annoyed because this guy won't take a hint. He's not taking a hint, right? And then she goes, "Could you do me a favor?" I go, "Yeah, what's up? What do you need?" Could you say that I'm with you? And I'm going, it's literally another lady. My girlfriend's leg is literally on my lap and she's like hugged up on me. It's going to be kind of hard to convince people that I'm with both of you. She goes, yeah, but this guy's a little bit of a yeah. And I go, all right, okay. And he comes back again. And I go, bro, chill, man. She's not interested, bro. I tried to do the uh knight in shining armor without aggression type thing. And he looks over at me, and I don't remember what he said, but whatever it was, I could feel my girlfriend's nails digging into my arm, my right arm, because I'm right-handed, and she also knows that's the hand I would use to knock this guy in the mouth with. But once again, I'm not the kind of person that will strike a person unless they're trying to strike me first. I'm not going to do it. I'm not that type of person. No, 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 not going to do it. I didn't need her nails in my arm. You know what I'm saying? Because if I was to bust this guy in the mouth, first of all, it would go against my normal way of behaving. And also from the other side of the bar would just look like a guy talking to a girl and me popping this guy in the mouth. So I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. Nope, 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 nope. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Not going to do it. She gets rid of me, comes back again. And this time she comes and sits next to me. She looks at my girlfriend as if to say, do you mind if I pretend to lean on your boyfriend? And my girlfriend gives her the silent, you know how ladies communicate with each other without words. They kind of, And I'm between them and I'm like, okay, I already know where this is going. So now she's hugged up on me, right? Right. And I look at my girlfriend and she gives me the nod as if, as if to say, go ahead, act like you're into it. You have permission to pretend, but don't pretend too good, because if you pretend too good, you ain't gonna be able to do the real thing later on when we leave here in about an hour. And I'm like, I'm not risking that. She's hot. Meaning my girlfriend. The other girl was hot too, but my girlfriend was, how can I put it? Yum. Back to the story. So the guy comes up. Now, obviously, now she's hooked up on me. So now the overt signal to anybody around is I'm with this guy. And yes, I'm with two ladies, but if I'm with two ladies, it is what it is. Whether I'm with one lady and you shouldn't talk to her, whether I'm with two ladies and you shouldn't talk to her, either way, you shouldn't talk to her. She's all up on me, pretending that she's with me. And then he comes in and starts talking to her anyway. Now, now, I have permission to say something. Hey, girl, but you begin to go, yo, what am I looking? Am I invisible to you? Who's she with? She with she turned you just to, I was trying to be polite, bro. Then she tell you to back up. Yo, chill, bro. No disrespect, but she's with me and she's with me. Oh, so you got both of them? Yeah. So what? He starts getting mouthy and talking crap under his breath. Right. He walks on the other side of her, get directly in front of me as I turn my chair around, and I'm looking at the guy and I'm waiting. I'm like, please. And I, like I said, I never hit anyone first. I'm going, please swing at me. I'm begging you. You start biting your lip like, yeah, this ain't gonna go the way you think. Please swing at me. I'm begging you. And I'm looking at the guy, and I don't even stand up because, quite frankly, I don't necessarily. I mean, he's taller than me, even though I'm standing up. But when I'm sitting down, he's going to assume that I can't do anything to him, and he would have assumed incorrectly. And he's talking his crap, and I'm like, So let me ask you a question, sir. These ladies are with me, and it's pretty obvious, right? Well, I'm not done talking. It's pretty obvious they're with me, correct? They've chosen me, not you. You've been rejected 7 times already, and you keep coming back. There's a room full of women here, lovely ladies. Some of them are by themselves. And I know you may be attracted to this young lady, who, by the way, once again, is with me, but she doesn't want you. Do you realize what's about to happen here? You're going to probably try to attack me. You may win, you may not win. You probably won't. But even if you do, you're going to go to jail. And then what's going to happen? You're going to be in jail, and I'm going to be with them. If you win, if you lose, I'm going to whip you behind. You're still going to go to jail, and I'm going to be with them. Either way, when the night's over with, they're going to be with me, and you're going to either wind up in jail or in jail and you're behind whooped. It's up to you to make a smart decision. You should probably go on the other side of the room right now. Now, granted, the way that I said it on this podcast was not quite the way I said it in the moment. Let's just say, instead of the smooth voice that you're hearing right now, it was said in the kind of way that, how can I put this politely? calmly homicidal. Now, I wasn't as angry as I presented, but I made it very, very clear that the evening was going to be very, very bad for him afterward. He had committed a huge butt whoopable offense, and he was about to get his butt whooped. And even if he didn't get his butt whooped, he was going to get hurt and he was going to go to jail because at this particular time, as I said, I was still seated and smiling, and he was the one being animated and in trying to be intimidating by looming over me, which is exactly what I wanted. So I'd have permission to drop kick his punk behind across the bar. He cursed at me, bleep you, man. And then he slowly backed away, and I kept my eyes on him, right? And then he goes back to the other side. Security starts to come over, but they're not coming over to me. They're going over to him. And I look back at the ladies, and she goes, could you guys give me a ride to my car? And I said, yes, we can. And I gave her a ride to the car. I stayed there with my girlfriend until as this lady pulled off, and I made sure she pulled out. Then we got into my car, and we drove back to my lady's house. And I, of course, spent all night getting it on with my woman. I know that part wasn't necessary for the story, but I just like letting you guys know that I had actually had sex once in my life. I mean, I have lots of women. Don't judge me. Shut up. But you have to understand something. There's always a line that is there that we're either going to cross or not cross. There's a line there that can't be crossed. Even a docile person, if you push them too far, you will be committing a butt whoopable offense. You have to keep your hands to yourself. You can't be following people around, threatening for them to give you more money than they want to give to you. You can't approach somebody's lady or man and expect nothing to happen to you. You can't do these things. You can't cut somebody off in traffic, right? Then get out of the car and act like you're angry at them, like they did something to you. Yeah, those are butt whoopable offenses. So I would say to you, my friends, and I know that if you're listening to me, first of all, you have incredible taste in podcasts, and you, of course, are probably hypnotized by my smooth voice. That's my assessment of it, and that's my fantasy. Shut up and moving on. But what I will say is this, my friends, listen, there's really no reason to go further than the line that is just drawn by society. We just treat everybody with respect and love, treat everybody with respect, treat everybody like you wanted to be treated, and then we won't have any problems. Do you realize that 99.9% of the butt whoopings I've seen is because someone had committed a butt whoopable offense? And I'm not just talking about back when I was hood adjacent, right? Somebody grabbing somebody's girlfriend, bow, knocked out. Somebody, like I said, cutting somebody off in the car, jumping out of the car. Man, you want some of this? Not realizing that when the guy gets out of the car, the guy's a 6'8" kung fu expert. Wow, butt whooped. I saw a guy at a stop and go, and if you don't know what a stop and go is in the northeast corner of the country, it's basically a corner store that sells primarily beer and cigarettes, but because of the law, they sell just enough food to be compliant with the law, but the real thing that they're selling is alcohol and cigarettes. And I saw a little Asian guy, right? Real nice guy, right? I used to go get cigarettes from my uncle from him. He comes outside. This guy's giving him a hard time. And stereotypically, watch out! Whoop the dude, like side kicked him in the face, right? Which was hilarious because as it turns out, the guy's father was a karate instructor. So he had a black belt since he was 12 years old. Had nothing to do with his business. It's just, that's just the way it was. And he figured, oh, I'm 6 inches taller than them. He can't, watch out! He had committed a butt whoopable offense and got his butt whooped. So let's just make a pact, my friends. We're going to be nice to everybody. We're going to keep our hands to ourselves. We're going to talk to people with respect, and that way we won't get our buttocks whooped, right? Right. Like, I'm not going to threaten to whoop anybody's buttocks. I'm just going to politely ask you to rate and review this podcast 5 stars. See? Polite. I'm going to ask you to tell friends about this podcast. I'm not going to say I'm going to whoop your butts because I can't whoop all of your butts. There's too many of you. And even if I could, I wouldn't. I would just say, please tell a friend about this podcast. That's all I will do. Okay? And in addition to that, I would just say to you, could you do me a favor? And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to this podcast. I would appreciate it. Till next time, my friends, much love to you. Thank you. This has been the S. Anthony Thomas Show. Much love to you. See you later.